Do you ever have experiences where you feel like giving you goosebumps, or you feel like wow, there is this beauty, this wonder, it's so much like catching your attention and you wonder, that's beautiful. You get this sense. Like on our front porch, we have hanging baskets. And the other day, this small, tiny, just like my pinky, hummingbird came by and just stuck its beak, not its nose, yes, right into the petals. And just that it can fly in one place and hold its balance and coming, it's like, wow. I was fascinated, it was beautiful, it was this. Or when you when you listen to a beautiful piece of music like Josh shared right now, I feel like beauty, like my heart opens and it's this wow, just being touched and moved and inspired. And you can add to these experiences. Now, to me, the Bible is talking and has been written by people who had experiences like these, encounters with the presence of God, like the burning bush, or on the mountain, the transfiguration, or the calming of the storm, and you can add up. So some of the core of our scriptures comes from people who have been amazed, in awe, in wonder about how God is at work in them and around them. And one of those experiences, one of these huge wow moments, is Jacob having that dream. Thank you for introducing the entire story, Marty. It feels like it's coming alive. And the trickery, how he deceived his brother, and then Esau was so upset with Jacob, he said, I'm gonna kill you if I can get you. So Jacob is running for his life. And often in those times, people thought and experienced God very present, connected to a location, to family, to where they were settled. So Jacob running for his life away from his family was almost like he's a stranger, he's gone, he's away from God as well. Kind of lost touch with his roots. But then he sleeps and he has this marvelous dream, heaven open, and it's like a staircase to heaven where angels are descending and ascending, and he gets this wow experience as he wakes up, and he sums it up as, God is here, and I had no idea that God was here. So God is present here and now. That's his experience. And he marks the space, he puts a pillar up, he anoints it, it's becoming a sacred place. And it calls it Bethel, which is the house of God. So God is present right here and right now. And that's the invitation, I think, for us to pay attention and be aware of how God moves among us, how God moves in us, how God, to become aware of that presence. And I've done looking at my dreams for many years. I record my dreams, I work with a spiritual director and explore. And some dreams are just standing out, and I feel like, yikes, yes, pay attention. And some of the things you just cannot make up. For example, this goes back a while. I was in our old car, an Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra, white, pretty run down. And I'm going to Sheetz to the fuel station to fuel up, and I notice there is smoke coming up from under the hood. So I open it up, and as I open it up, there is fire burning under the hood. And I feel like I need a couple of buckets of water to extinguish it. Same night, second dream, I'm on a motorcycle really late. Just 5 minutes to 9, the fuel station closes at 9, so I have to get there really fast. I make it just in time, and as I'm about to turn off and drive off, the motorcycle topples over, and there I stand. It's not hard to guess that something is out of balance there, or kind of engine burning out, rushing, not getting to where I need to be. It's kind of, this was like holding up the mirror and saying, slow down, Dietmar, don't rush, don't push it too far. It's kind of, you can't make this up. But it's true, it's real, it's present if we pay attention, if we notice. There are these portals, or as the Celtic mystics, spiritual leaders said, God's world and our world, they're right here, right now, both. And they're separated only by a veil, like thin as gossamer. And that veil is lifted at times, and we get glimpses of the presence of God, of that world of God that is in our world right here and right now. It's kind of this thin places where something opens up and breaks through, and we're invited to be taking it in and opening up. And the deepest, the awareness or the feeling, the awe, the awareness, this reverence, this beauty, this encounter of the bigger, that is a sign that we encounter something like that, the greater reality of God. So, where and how did you experience that? Where and how are you open to that and take time to pay attention and to notice that around you, in others, in your life? The second scripture is a parable. The interesting thing about parables is they are stories that cannot be squeezed into one single sentence. So they're parables on purpose, and they're like a kaleidoscope. When you turn it a little bit around and look at it from a different perspective, or if you put yourself in one of the persons in the parable, or go into the parable as one aspect or one object of the parable, and explore it from that time, it's almost like turning it a little bit around, makes you think again and look again. And when we were on continuing education the week before, one of the presenters said, parables, what about if you read a parable and put yourself in the character, in the role of the person you like least? What does that look like for you? What does it feel, or do you experience when you experience it from that perspective? So the parable of the wheat and the weeds, or the tares, is an invitation for us to think, well, where and how do we encounter beauty and wonder and growth? And where and how do we encounter weeds, whatever is stifling and pressing down on the beauty of life? Where and how does that line go? And usually we think, well, where are the tares? Where is the weed? Not here, it's there. We have that tendency, don't we? And Jesus gives us this parable and other parables to say, you know what? One of the greatest things you can do is look at yourself versus pointing at others and look for the faults in others. You know that saying, love your enemies, you know it, we all know it, and look for the speck. Instead of looking for the speck in your neighbor's eye, look for the log in your own. So God is amazing in a wonderful way at work to surprise us, to open us up. Where and how do you pay attention? Where and how do you notice God at work? And open up to that and become an instrument in God's ongoing work in the world. Where and how do you pay attention to the active, present God in your life, in our lives? How do you do that?